What I liked about the film They Shall Not Grow Old. Honestly, I think it was the best documentary I've ever seen. It showed the daily lives, not like generals, not the tactics of World War One. It just showed the daily lives of people, what it was like living in the trenches, the friendships that were made, and the lives that were lost. It put on color and increased the frame rate. It was really heartbreaking. Really sad. I hope more people see it. I hope it's shown in schools. I feel like it won't, though. I'm glad I saw it with her. I found the bathroom stuff interesting. How like the law would break and they would fall into the shit. That was funny. I never really thought about the fact that you needed a guide to find your way through the trenches. I mean, it's true. All across Europe, like cut from Switzerland to the ocean, basically, trenches everywhere. I found the observation of the Germans quite sad. I like that they didn't hold any animosity towards each other. And like they said that the Germans, once they'd be captured, they automatically would usually start going on stretcher duty to help carry wounded back to the German lines. I mean, to the British lines. Now the veterans on the British side just saw them as kids like them and tired of the war like them and depressed because they're doing they're just basically retreating all the way back to Germany for 4 years. It's quite sad. It makes you ask the question, why? Because, World War One, most people don't even think about it. In total, only like 14 million were killed. That's not a lot compared to. Just gets overshadowed by World War II, and then like the gulags, everything that happened in China, Cambodia, Cuba, Soviet Union. But I think it's important because it's like there's a line. There's like before the war happened and after. Europe is in shambles by 1917. Everything's on fire. The old aristocracy is afraid. The kings all across Europe are being thrown out or are feeling the pressure, like Italy, Germany, Russia. Even the UK, they almost threw them out. I'm sure even in Scandinavia, they almost threw them out. Because they got them in such a crazy war. I understand why they would throw them out. It's like, we can't. For all our ancestors, you gambled with their lives, and now you're gambling with our lives. What's that? I think it's important that the film came out now. because it's 100 years later after it's done, and it symbolizes the start of, you know, the Russian Revolution. Everybody being rounded up in the gulags, the Spanish Civil War, World War II. And as I age, more and more of these things will become happening. It's quite sad, because most people don't even know about any of them. Even with such huge events about like World War II, they have the common person just has such a lack of understanding about what happened and why, and just views it's like they view Germany as just like the German people, they view them as just a bunch of crazed racists, but not like and are incapable or refusing to search for why it happened. And that's the stupid thing about World War I. What were the reasons that happened? Germany was getting bigger. They were basically like the United States of Europe. They had just formed a new country, basically. They're trying to show the world that, hey, you can't mess with us. And then you get like three kings: the Tsar, the Emperor of Germany, and the King of England, all first cousins. They can't start the war until their grandmother, Queen Victoria, is dead. And then when she dies, it's fine to start the war. And also, it's like France is afraid of Germany because they're seeing how fast they're growing, and they're going to be passing on population and in economic growth anytime soon. And Germany's afraid of Russia because Russia's population is growing and their economy is growing too, and they might pass them eventually. And so they knew that war was coming for a long time. For like 70 years, they didn't have a war. All these technological advances happened, and suddenly they're like, it was the best time. France didn't want Germany to keep moving forward, or they would get blown out of the water even more than they were. Germany didn't want to wait longer because they knew that Russia would be harder to deal with. And to be honest, I don't know why Great Britain even joined the war. I guess the whole Belgium thing. Maybe it would have been better if they hadn't. What would have happened if they hadn't? They would have lost the Marne. The French would have lost the Marne. And the Germans would have been able to make it into Paris. France would have surrendered. They send their armies over and crush Russia. What would have happened if they had defeated the French and the Russians? They probably would have gained more land. Italy wouldn't have joined the war. America wouldn't have joined the war. Great Britain would have lost 1 million soldiers. France would have lost more. Russia would have lost more, and Germany would have lost. Well, I mean, they probably would have lost less than the grand total of not fighting for 4 years. The war probably would have been over in a couple of months. Maybe 1 more month. It could have been a 2-month-long war that increased Germany's borders, increased France's decline, and halted Russia's economic growth. Then what would have happened? Potentially, the Russian Revolution would have never happened, or it still would have happened. But maybe Germany could have been in a better position to help control it. America probably wouldn't be the same country it is today. It wouldn't get an economic boom from the war, funding other countries. And Germany would have been more of an economic power than it is today, with more people as well. World War II most likely would have never have happened. And if it had happened, it would have happened for different reasons, and the Holocaust most definitely would have happened. And potentially, there wouldn't have been a communist uprising around the world. I don't know. I don't know what a world like that looks like. I wish I did.